Hello, welcome back to the channel, Al. Now, as you know, ladies and gentlemen, there is a little bit of a kerfuffle, to put it mildly, with an event that was going on, or supposedly going on Saturday. And you may have seen the earlier video in which I've said, I think I called it, "We've been cancelled." And council culture, if I can say it, is all over the place. And it's got to stop, because good people coming out, spending a lot of money to come and see things, and other good people are spending time and effort and money to come and present things, usually truth and freedom and that sort of thing. And other people just don't want this message to get across. Liz Phillips was behind this particular event, The Great Resist, and she joins me now. Liz, how are you feeling?
Well, I was, to say, a little bit cross yesterday afternoon, very late in the afternoon. We received an email from the venue which said, following some communication to the hotel, I have taken the decision that we are going to have to cancel your booking at the hotel on Saturday, despite the fact I paid for a month ago, Richard. We take a non-political view within the hotel, and we feel that by hosting this event in the hotel, we are then appearing to take a side on political matters, and we do not want to do this. Now, I rang the goodly gentleman that sent this, and I said, but this is not a political debate. This is
No.
people listening to all sorts of things from agriculture to health to EMFs, alternative media. This is in no way a political debate. We're not there to discuss politics as it is, but we are there to learn about problems and solutions. So this is in no way political. Where did this come from? Well, of course, he wouldn't say. What
Right.
does communication say? I said. He wouldn't say. So he said, but I've spoken to my managing director and we're going to have to cancel. So I said, please put me through to your managing director. Oh, no, he won't speak to you. I thought, no, I bet he won't. So that was the end of that. And although I was extremely polite to the manager, against sometimes your better judgment, Richard, if you
Mm.
know what I mean, but I remained extremely polite and said, we should have a chance to rebut what has been said. It's an accusation against ordinary men and women who've come from all over the country just to listen to very good speakers from all over the world, including yourself. And as you so rightly say, spend a lot of time and money doing all these things for nothing. I certainly don't make any money. I would have made a loss on this one because we could only have 350 instead of 400. We break even on 400, Richard, but 350 that we take a loss on it, or I take a loss on it. So that's where we are. And
And,
so, as it was late yesterday afternoon, and I'd already, to get the venue in Liverpool, I wanted it earlier, originally in Manchester, as you know. When we were in
yes.
Peterborough, we said the next one will be in Manchester. I spoke to nearly 100 different venues in the Greater Manchester area, the Liverpool area, and the Chester area. So I covered all that to get a venue at all. They were either too expensive. One hotel wanted £7,000 for 6 hours, and on top of that, I had to pay for the projector that was already there and the speakers. So
Mm.
I declined politely,
Mm.
as only you can. Um,
Yes.
and I tried church halls, I tried meeting rooms, uh, school halls, the council venues. I tried other hotels and places like the barracks. But of course, it's Armistice Day, which is a
Mm.
very special day, and which is what we were all going to be there for. And I eventually ended up in the Holiday Inn in Peterborough, in
In
Liverpool.
Liverpool,
That was
yeah.
it was the Holiday Inn by Lime Street Station. And I have to tell you that the lady that I've dealt with there, Barbara, has been absolutely superb, and no indication at all. I paid the deposit and then I paid the full amount all on time. So it was a month ago. So no hesitation, no worries at all. I was even in contact with her earlier in the week to say, could we have the set layout of the room, etc., and that there would be some parcels arriving, which would have been the programs, etc. And she's been absolutely marvelous. I've got no quarrel with her at all. And then out of the blue, having sent all the programs out to all the speakers yesterday afternoon, late yesterday afternoon, around about 4 o'clock, the email dropped through. So
I mean, I mean that you, as you say, you've had printed programs, and of
yeah,
course, I was at the Peterborough event, and they're very nice programs, printed both sides, and you have to make sure they're enough, and you know you can't just print them months in advance. You've got to wait till everything's confirmed and all of that, and it has the date and the venue on it, so they're useless now.
yeah, absolutely. I can't use
You
them
know, so
again.
that's an expense in and of itself, not least the room and all. You know, now having to get in touch with people and say, "I'm sorry, but it's not on."
Yeah.
This is and this is going on. I mean, this is going on with other events that people are trying to get going, and somebody out of the blue suddenly at the last minute says some horrible things, whatever, which sways the management, which is a bit odd at the last moment, the 11th hour, and says, so, you know, these people are not what they seem, which is, of course, a lie. And on the basis of that, they just say, oh, sorry, we're not honouring the contract. Surely there's something in the contract that says they just can't cancel willy-nilly. I mean, what are you supposed to do?
I'm not really sure, but what I've said to you before is, and don't take this as being mercenary, but I
No.
want the money I paid back in my account, and then I'll sort the situation out. And
Yes.
that I understand should be in there about now. So I will sort that. I don't trust these people at all. I certainly don't mistrust the girl that I was dealing with, but I don't trust anybody else. So I want the money back in my account that I paid, and then I'll do a sorting out session. The we've now been given not by the hotel, I might add, but by somebody who is very familiar with Twitter. And we understand this group is part of the Hope Not Hate group, Liverpool Against Hate. Well, Richard, and it's somewhere in there. It says to the hotel group, you know, these people are against. What do they say? We're against. Can I just find
Yeah,
this a little
I've got
bit?
it up here on the screen.
Right.
Liverpool against hate.
Yes.
Um, we have learned that you are hosting the Great Resist conference, and here is our letter of likely politics of the conference. It says,
And
and
you
then
know what the likely politics are, which there aren't, and you know the actual when you're talking to farmers in New Zealand, I don't know where they think the hate comes in,
yes,
which is what their the propaganda says, but it also says somewhere along the line that we would be we will be upsetting their their guests who would come from different backgrounds, could be transgender, etc., etc. And I feel like telling them that there are many people in the audience who will come
yes,
from many different nationalities and will possibly be from the LGBT brigade and also from any other group. So, you know, I just do not understand the gender identity. It doesn't matter to us at all. We never have. There's been no hate speech. We don't incite hate. We're just talking about the problems of the world, and you know, offering
offering
solutions.
solutions. Yeah,
Yeah, and so it was absolutely monstrous to be classed in this sort of light. And none of the people that come to us, Richard, as you know, are anything like as this has been portrayed. So I will be taking this up. And I
oh, good.
understand that there are other news organisations now want to take it up as well.
Oh well,
So
that's good.
it's not done them any good. So the Holiday Inn, I'm afraid, in Liverpool will be a no-no.
Yes. Well, I know that I've been getting emails from people sending in their letters and saying how disgusted they are, and they're being in touch with the manager to say they were all set to go. They've spent money. They're going, you know, either staying at that hotel or other B&Bs elsewhere. And, you know, to just suddenly carte blanche do that is a terrible thing. A fellow hotelier, a friend of mine who's been in the business for years, he says this is absolutely disgusting. It's not what a hotel does. He said, you know, imagine it was a wedding and you've suddenly cancelled somebody's wedding. You can't just rearrange it. And what are you going to do with the people who turn up who haven't managed to be told that it's cancelled? They're all going to turn up. They're going to be livid.
Well, I'd like to thank, we deal with the Fat Soma company that sells our tickets for us. I'd like to pay tribute to them, Richard, for the way that they've taken this on board. And everybody, I think there's a way they will be in touch with everybody. I just hope that everybody gets the message. I've done everything I can with the people that I've known verbally and by telephone. Obviously, I've spoken to all the speakers, but people had hired minibuses. There was a minibus coming over from Norfolk. Two were coming up from South Wales. Whether these people can get their money back, I just don't know. And whether we do a collective action, because this is outrageous. And it was suggested that perhaps we could find another venue, as I said earlier. But at the lateness of the hour, I wanted to give people as much notice as possible because people will be booking train tickets today and tomorrow, and we couldn't
Yes.
find another venue, then it's more expense. I mean, the tickets themselves, we keep it to a fiver a head because I want people that haven't got very much money and who would normally not be able to go and listen to the people like Dr. Robert Malone and Michael Tellinger from South Africa, and all the people like Nicholas Martin, yourself, and others that actually come to the Kimberley Isherwood from South Wales, coming to talk about Public Child Protection Wales, protecting all our children, which is what the government should be doing and aren't, etc. But this is I want what I call ordinary people who haven't got very much money to be able to come. And it's
Yes.
not, that's not a, somebody said that was condescending. It's not condescending at all. I know what it's like. I haven't got any money either. And so you'd often want to go and see somebody, but I think one of the big organisations had one a bit ago, was sort of like £150 a ticket. Well, that's out of the, by the time
It,
people have travelled, it's
yes.
outrageous. So we keep it to that, to have everybody that we want there.
Yes, and I think it's so important that people can come and see people in the flesh,
Yeah,
because you can see people online and all of that, but when you can go and, as I often say to the audience where I'm now being do these talks myself to small groups, they can poke me and prod me, and they know I'm real. They can ask me questions, which is, you can't ask on an email because I may not see it or I may not answer it. I've got to be answerable to the audience. And I think that's, there they are. They can ask me a very difficult question and they'll see how I respond to that, or if I know, or if I'm trying to palm them off with something, or being honest and say, look, I don't know the answer to that, but I know a man who does, type thing. I think that's these events, the live event, especially now with the control that's coming with the online safety bill, that people in the room, it's a private event. It's got nothing to do with anybody else.
yeah. And we had sort of the great duo of Nicholas Neil Petrie and Richard Borner. Now, sadly, Richard at the end of last week was told an operation about 3.5 hours that he'd been waiting for a long time was going to take place on Friday. So I said to him, Richard, for goodness sake, don't worry
Mm.
about us. We'll cope without you. You just get well because we need you. And you wouldn't believe I had an email from him today saying how sorry he was. And guess what? His operation's cancelled tomorrow.
Oh,
He's back with the 7.5 million where he was before. So, compared with what Richard is now waiting to go through again, our loss is small, and we all wish Richard, well very soon. He should have had this operation tomorrow. There's no question. And so, and he won't mind, well, he might mind me saying it, but so compared with that, Richard, I find that what we're going through at the moment, my thoughts are with Richard, and
yes, of course.
just get well soon to him. But I'm just so cross and upset, and I'm desperate because I'm sure there will be people who won't see this, who won't have watched their emails and got, from the ticket
Yeah.
people, or people who wanted to pay cash at the door.
Yes.
It is outrageous, and it won't rest here. Believe me.
No. And what do you say to the argument? I've had a couple of people email me and saying, well, why don't you just do these virtually rather than in person? What do you say to those?
Well, can I just tell you that what we were going to do this time? We were actually going to do a live stream, a testing run, if you like, because
Mm.
my technical skills are not all that they ought to be. I'm far too old. But we have actually purchased a camera, and we were actually but we were going to live stream it to a couple of people so that we could make it work for the next one.
Right.
because there are a lot of people abroad who want to want to watch and then perhaps replicate what we do.
Yes.
But I think what I would like to do is the two things. Do a live stream for, say, people in Scotland if we're down in the West Country, because
Yes.
there's a big following up in Scotland, and so or Northern Ireland, where they can't come
Well,
over.
in Australia and New Zealand, I mean, this is one of the things that somebody in New Zealand
Yeah,
emailed me and said, I would, if I was in the country, I would go.
yeah.
I'm not in the country, but I'm really interested in what you're doing.
Yeah, and Canada, we've had people do that from Canada, from America, from South Africa, from Australia, in fact, from, all over, Richard.
Mm,
And even from north to south of the UK, because as you know, we've been moving around the UK to give everybody a chance to come and listen and chat. So I'd like to do the two things. I think it's very important that people get together. And you will, you very much wanted to come to Liverpool because you loved what we did in Peterborough. We had a
yes.
wonderful time, and there's nothing better than talking to. There was 350 people. We were full for Liverpool, so and that was our maximum, but we were up to the max. And
Yeah.
so there we go. But I think that's important. But also, we'll try it online as well. But on Saturday, what we are going to try and do is do something on Saturday. And if everybody goes onto our website, www.thegreatresist.net, if they go onto our website tomorrow, we will have had it all sorted if and what we can do. So it'll all be on the website. And we're
Brilliant.
working on that at the moment. So we are trying. It's frustrating. And yes, I was very cross. No, quite calm, but very cross.
Yes. I wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of you, Liz.
Well, my husband says I have a cross. I look a cross between Queen Victoria and Boadicea. Now we used to call her Boadicea. I think she's got another name these days,
Boudica, isn't it?
or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
But he says I can be, but I don't swear. I very only occasionally when I'm on my own might utter something, but I don't swear. But
Mm.
I am pretty straight, as you probably have seen before.
Yes, no, and very honourable, may I say. So I'm excited to know, and I think the audience will be excited to know that there may be something happening on Saturday. And I know it's at last minute. Not only are you trying to tell people that don't go, please don't go, don't spend the money, but then trying to organise, the technical side, and then talking to all the speakers and trying to sort of who can possibly come in and when and what have you. And you know that I will make myself available to sort of slot in as and when, wherever.
Bless you,
Um,
Richard. And so I know I've had a couple of others that, in actual fact, they were going to do videos and said, "Don't worry about the video. We'll come on board."
mm,
Whatever, all the videos and all the speeches, those that were going to be there and aren't, I will get to do a little speech. Even if we can't get it done this Saturday, but they will all go up on the website anyway, Richard, because
yeah,
people like Michael Tellinger, Robert Malone, all these people have given so much of their time and effort. And besides which, it's really relevant to us over here.
yes,
And, Michael Tellinger with One Small Town. And we were going to have the wonderful Mark Taylor over from Thetford, who was coming over with about 8 people. They've started a sovereign council because the councils are not listening to us. The Kent County Council is about to go broke. But they wanted to shut the waste centres, the waste disposal centres for households. Now, on one hand, the councils are telling you you've got to do all this waste disposal for household. Next hand, they want to cancel it. And as we know, that I think it was Thurrock Council, I told you the other day, Richard, they spent a load of money on a private jet. And, we smiled about that, but it's quite true
yeah,
they did. And, the waste of money that I know life is tough, but all these council buildings appear to be empty. So councils aren't doing what it says on the tin. So Thetford, God bless it, has set up a sovereign council. And so Mark was going to come over and tell us all about that. It's so interesting
mm,
what these people are doing, and this is what people want to know about. They're
absolutely. Yeah, but I mean, just because this particular event is cancelled, and as dreadful as it is not going to stop you
oh,
from carrying on. I know that.
well, Richard, when you look at it, we're not. We're in the in our living rooms or what have you. We're not out facing bombs and
Mm.
guns and what have you, like our predecessors did. And that's why we had Armistice Day, to celebrate the fact that war was over. And we had it in Liverpool. My father sailed out of Liverpool, one of 13 merchant ships. Do you know how many merchant ships returned? One.
I dread to think, yeah,
One,
one.
and that was Dad's. You know, he was
Ah,
an engineer in the Merchant Navy, and of course they didn't have the capabilities of fighting anybody off. They were there for supply only, supplying all the rest of the, and it was absolutely dreadful. So Liverpool, I'm very disappointed in Liverpool, and the hotel is not what I think of Liverpudlians, and I'm just so disappointed in them. But the good old British psyche says, you say you can't do it. Well, we jolly well can, Mr. Vobes. We jolly well.
absolutely. And we will. We will push back against this corporate Britain that's trying to stop truth and people actually thriving and enjoying their lives and finding out information. And we will. And I know my audience will be absolutely 100% behind everything that you do and other people like us are doing, because it's the right thing.
Well, already, as you know, there was going to be some alternative media there. Kathy Gingell from The Conservative Woman has really got the bit between me. She's so angry because she was
Yes.
going to come, and as I said to her, "You're opening the batting, Kathy," because she's such a character, and B, she's lovely, and you know what she hasn't done with an alternative newspaper, nothing to do with the Conservative Party. I got
No.
accused again the other day of being part of the Conservative. It's nothing to do with that. Conservative Woman has got nothing to do with the Conservative Party. But I mean, there were such wonderful people. Peter McElvenna from Hearts of Oak, such a kind Christian man who, again, is just like us. He comes at things a little differently than we do sometimes. But all these people, we're going to talk about 5G and EMFs, and two wonderful farmers, one from here and one from New Zealand, telling everybody what the problems the farmers are facing.
Yes.
That's so important. And then you've got other doctors, naturopaths, who are giving, complete answers to the problems that everybody's having. So that's what everybody's lost.
I mean, I feel gutted because I wanted to meet some of the, I've met some people, but there's loads of people out there that I'm very keen to meet and talk to and then bring on to the show as well. I know you were going to have Dr. Sarah Myhill, who has been on the show. There's just some amazing people, and of course, giving people the access to these wonderful people. I mean, it is sometimes a chance in the lifetime to get into a room with some of these people, because they're all very busy and they're all doing the things they're doing. So it is very despicable of a hotel at the last minute to just turf you out and say, sorry mate, you can't come in. And I fear that this is a battle that we're going to be fighting, as the powers that were are struggling to hold on to those powers, but we will defeat them.
Well, as I say, it's come from a government-backed organisation, so we most certainly. But the nice thing is, somebody said it's a compliment because you're now over the target, so the flak gets a little bit heavier. But
Yes.
it does show that we are on the right. Otherwise, there would be no flak.
Well, we
There we
better
go.
put on our tin hats then, hadn't we, Liz? And just stiff up a lip and get on with it.
Absolutely. I think my father used to say there's nothing worse than a woman with a smile and a hockey stick. Very, very dangerous. I can't find my hockey stick at the moment, but I've certainly got a smile.
Well, I'm sure numbers of my audience will go out and send you them now. Liz, thank you for coming on. I appreciate that your time now has just disappeared because you've got so much to try and organise. Well done you. I know you burn the candle anyway on what you do. I'll put the link in the description, of course, so do check it out. And on Saturday, check out to see what's occurring. And the next event, if people can't do anything here, you've got one planned for the next one.
Yeah,
Any
the
hints?
third of February next year. Obviously, we're now running. This is not a good time now when you're running towards Christmas.
Yes.
January is a poor month because people are usually broke after Christmas. So the
Yeah.
first Saturday in February, the 3rd of February, down in the West Country. I think it'll probably be in the Taunton area. It'll be Taunton or Swindon, because I know that there's a place that will definitely host us in Swindon, But I think I'll try and make sure this doesn't happen again. I feel guilty, Richard, for people because to choose somewhere I should have had. I mean, we had the Holiday Inn in Peterborough, and they were absolutely wonderful, weren't they? I mean, you
Yes,
were there.
they could,
The
they,
staff were fantastic. And I said to this chap yesterday, why don't you ring your sister hotel? Oh, we're nothing to do with them, he said. And I said, they will tell you.
yes, because they're a franchise, aren't they? And that's
Uh,
the
there's something a little bit. We're delving into that as well. We have
right.
three names of three directors. So I think they may be having a little, we may be having a little chat.
Good stuff. Liz, thanks for coming on the show. And I mean, the great thing is, we put our hands up and we've said, look, this is the situation. And people, of course, will completely understand, be disappointed. But I think these sort of things make us stronger. And as you say, we'll be more determined next time to make sure these things happen. You'll be inundated in February, of course. You know that, don't you?
All we need now is for Joe Biden to come over and tell us we can't do it, because I do remember Mr. Obama coming over and tell us we must stay in the European Union. And so everybody said, right. So now we need Mr. Biden to come over and do something similar, and backs will all be against the wall and we'll all win. And that's what we
Absolutely.
do.
Brilliant. Liz, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
There you are, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. Do keep an eye out on Saturday on the website, which will be linked down below. But in the meantime, really sorry that the event isn't happening. As you heard, it's out of our hands, but we're doing our best to rectify it. Big thanks to Liz Phillips for coming on. Till next time, bye-bye.